точно. Раз. Проверка звука. Вроде должно все идти нормально. Ага, hello. Здраво. Привет. Another stream today. Haven't decided on the exact thing I was going to talk about just yet. But there are a couple of things happening in Russia, and the whole process of the war, the mobilization is coming, and people are getting more and more distressed. Propaganda is heavily increasing. One of the things that is kind of interesting is that in Russia they have been placing in big cities anti-air defense weapons on the rooftops of buildings, and they have been doing it for quite for almost a week now, for a couple of days. The thing is about it that they have been, why it's interesting, they have been doing it kinda obvious. Those guns are placed just you can see them with your own eyes. It has been shown on some Russian media. I'm not exactly sure about the pro-Russian, like First Channel and stuff, but the info is out there in the what's it called, in social media and stuff. So one of the best guesses that I've heard about this was it's a kind of, apart from being a way to defend the area from potential attacks, another thing that it might have been accomplishing is another element of propaganda for people to feel more threatened even in their home. And so more and more people would conscript and all this stuff. It's if we won't think about the feelings and of the people that see this and all this stuff, I think that this is a good way to attack people's minds. It's a very effective way. I wouldn't call it fair, I guess, but we're talking about governments. It's not like we often see people in the government caring overall about feelings of one or a couple of people, to be exact. So yeah, this one thing, very interesting in my opinion. Nothing like this has happened in my life, that's for sure. It's all of this sounds like a middle or a start of a story of sorts, a fictional story, that is, that you might read in a book or maybe a movie. And at times I would enjoy such products of imagination, to push us beyond, to push me beyond the comfort zone, to think about how I would feel. And now so many of us can actually see the things evolve and to feel those by ourselves. And it's not exactly as I was hoping it would feel. Well, in some ways it's very similar. I mean, this is why we have all these great movies and stories, because they are models of reality. But yeah, hello everyone, once again, people who are joining. So today I'm not exactly even sure what to talk about. There are so many things happening. Another thing is, and it's not like many things happen, but very little things happen. And they are the tiniest of things, and they happen all the time, and they are very meaningful, but each thing by itself doesn't make a great story. Another thing is that apparently from the 1st of March, people living by car, mind you, this may add some other types of vehicles, but people trying to leave for any reason Russia, and this might be Russian citizen or a non-Russian citizen, they have to not produce a document. They have to notify the government in advance that they are going to leave the country, and they will have to write many things about why they are leaving, who they will be living with, and the type of vehicle, and where they will be exiting exactly. That's another thing to think about. And this at first I've heard this information from someone from the family, and he didn't give much of the details, but the overall vibe of this story, as well as these I'm not sure whether they're anti-aircraft or anti-rocket or anything like this, but the defensive turrets, weapons that are being built with this moment, with people being having to notify the government to leave the country. All of this just pushes our minds in a very dark place, unfortunately. Will it actually happen? The probably yes. There is the document has already been signed. I'm not exactly sure how much instances in the government it had passed, but yeah. Also, I was reminded by a subscriber that almost right after before the last video, there have been information from the defense ministry of Russia that they will be adding additional 650,000 men to the Russia military overall, which is another sign of everything coming, which is well, yeah, it's saddening, of course. I don't know what to expect, how it will evolve. Many more countries are producing more and more weapons, the ones that are already in the war, one way or the other. The money are being made for those companies producing all these weapons. I mean, that's a lot of money. And I'm not exactly sure how much would be left of Ukraine will take a lot of damage, the whole territory, economy, and all this stuff. Russia is taking damage. I mean, so many people are damaged by this, the prices of oil and stuff, and I don't know, which comes. I'm coming up to another subject I was thinking about and talking about. I've made a video recently about the jobs on the Russian market. It's so many people are losing their jobs at times, and at the same time, there are everyone is trying to hop from a job to a better job, not to leave yourself, your family without a provider. And the result is that the job market is overflowing by, what's the correct word? Well, people trying to find a job. Employees and employers, and they have so many choices. They can make just horrible job offers, and they'll still get a lot of a lot of people on it. They might even not get any of them, of those people trying to get to apply to a job. It's like it looks like it's all a farce. All of this is fake. I'm trying to find a job currently, and my fiancé as well. Quite a bit of guys that have left Russia recently that I've met here, they are also trying to, and it's shocking how hard it is. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. A year before that, the situation was completely different. A year before that, it was... and I thought that all these COVID things were bad, right? Yeah. Let me check one thing first. I'm still not getting any answers. Also, yeah, the whole situation with the social media in Russia is very frustrating. There is a social network, ВКонтакте, that it's like a Facebook. I haven't been using it. Lucky for me, before all of this. I've left it like 5 or 6 years ago, I think, maybe 7. I have been using it since I was like 9 or 10 years old. It was just awesome, and it was owned by this guy who made Telegram, and a couple of years after that, it's like 10 years maybe past, he has been pushed by the Russian government to sell it, basically, because if he will not give like full control of what is written inside, all the messages, all these photos, all the views, all the likes, the time of where they're happening, the clicks, all of the information. if it won't be stored and given to the government, then he will like fined for billions of dollars almost. And there have been attempts to fight back these ridiculous laws by by Pavel Durov, the name of the creator and owner of that social network. And then by failing quite a bit of them, he found that it's next to impossible, so he sold it and left the country. And it has been bought by a tiny Google, almost like a Google company. It's a mail.ru, mail.ru. It's an IT company, but it's very pro-governmental in many ways. Of course, after they bought it, they made a lot of horrible decisions about it. But the thing is, even back then, it was almost 10 years ago, I've heard more and more stories of the fact that it's all the messages are being read, and it already pissed me off greatly. And the thing is that you can't remove these messages. I mean, you can remove them for yourself. You won't see them, but the system will remember all of these messages. And it's like people would ask, like, why? What's the problem if you are doing everything by the law? The problem is that it's at least one step towards hell, and it's already starting and has been expanding substantially in the recent years, especially. Even back then, like 7 years ago, there have been lawsuits against people that have written some kind of a message, or not a message, a post. At first it was just posts. No, at first there have been situations where a person has committed suicide or something like this, and or killed someone, and their messages have been read. This is like a so-so moment. But the next thing that happened was the government started prosecuting people for writing inappropriate posts. So you might write something like Putin is a thief, and you will get fined for this at first. And very quickly people started getting jailed for this, for writing a post. You know, even if you have 0 people in the following, you still might get jailed for that. And this is like a huge, it's not like a red flag, it's like an explosion already. The next thing that happened, they started prosecuting people for likes and reposts of these posts that someone else has made. So you might have placed this like accidentally, and you like there's quite a a lot of people, like it's well over thousands now, people that have been prosecuted for and the most ridiculous stuff. Some of those, the loudest of the cases were people of like a young woman, young mom. She had 2 children. She was about 30 years of age, and she was commenting about the local government, I believe, but in Moscow, I think. Something like this. Anyway, she got 3 years sentence for this. Like, serious. I think it was 3 to 5, something like this, years. And that's just a random person. And she wasn't saying stuff like Putin was a thief or something like this. It was very, very mild stuff. I could look it up, but it's quite mild. She's, well, it's she serves her sentence now, but some of the people that are in jail now for this, they can go up to 5 to 10 even years of jail sentence for this, apart from fines, apart from, you know, working while you're in jail for the government and paying this as your fine, as well as being jailed. And the next thing that has been happening now, there are quite a lot of things that are, I mean, let me check. I will tell the exact numbers possibly. What I'm disconnecting my cable accidentally. I won't touch it again. The next thing that is happening now is there's a law against war fakes, as it's called. So any information that is being spread about the war, like any information, if it's in any way seen as not non-supportive to the whole story of that government pushes, you will be prosecuted heavily. Just in 2022, about 200 of these of people were prosecuted. The thing, it was this law was pushed not even at the start of the year. It's like in the middle. But it's so many people that are not even random people at times being punished, and even if they are showing actual information, if it's just in some way not the same as the government's, that's it. You are done. Now, also, people that are saying something against can be prosecuted in a way that their belongings in Russia will be taken by the government. Yeah, I see that some people are outright lying. I'm not going to call exact names right here, but there are a bit of these new wave Russian bloggers that are speaking to the Europeans and in America, and they're trying to sell themselves and to get some easy views and likes, and they're selling this they're over exaggerating almost everything, and they get this expert position that they hold and push around, that they have this 100% proven information and stuff like this. But of course it's going to be secret. The whole thing is secret. Yeah, but of course these people, I don't think that they're doing much of a service to anyone, really. It's fairly easy to lie things like and over exaggerate and stuff. It's really hard to find this middle ground in this time of complete unbalance. This whole war is it's just unbalanced in so many ways. Both sides are lying, significantly lying, and the truth is in the middle, really. And as we're talking about laws, another law that has been recently passed in Russia is people that are trying to sabotage and to make diversions or something like this will now be jailed for life. The list of things that are called sabotage is it's pretty extensive. And that's to be expected because it's wartime, and of course they have to enforce the law in these difficult times, because people would do stupid stuff and you know, but still. Also, there are people getting prosecuted for being admins in Telegram, like, channels. I mean, this whole, it's like have you seen this TV show, the British TV show called Black Mirror? I've enjoyed it so much, but this thing is everything. Almost all of the things that are happening in this TV show are happening right now. The thing about this TV show that I suggest you would watch if you have spare time, it's about near future, and every episode is a completely unrelated topic and world, but it's all about our everyday life and how technology affects our existence and how we act and how we talk with relatives and people we love, and how we govern ourselves and how the government controls us. It's very interesting, and almost every single thing is now coming as a prophecy almost. And back then, back like 10 to 15 years ago, I was hearing about China doing these things with social ranking and stuff. And I was like, wow. And it shocked me, and at first it was like a good idea. Many things sound great at first, but once you really think them through to the tiniest of details, like the smallest everyday choices, it just paints a completely different picture. Such as, for example, in China, when you have this rating, it helps people understand who you are, but simplified to a number apparently. But once you as much as stand next to a person who is of a way lower rating than you might get D-ranked. You might lose points. Like just talking to a person who is lower rating than you. And the cameras get everything. They get your face and they ID you everywhere. Yeah, you can go into a shop sometimes. There are I hear there are a couple of shops there is no salesman or a cashier, none of that. You just come up, take what you need, and it's just deducted from your bank account right away. It sounds cool. I mean, you don't have to wait in lines and touch those dirty banknotes. Is that the correct term? In Russian it's banknotes. Anyway, yeah. And you get these products and you leave and you don't waste time. Sounds good, but all the other things that come up. People can't get a job simply because they have this rating that doesn't allow them to do it, even though they might be of higher proficiency than someone who has a higher rating, for example. Now we have this in Russia, and I'm not happy about it. So they are closing the borders, it seems now. Of course, this is to be expected. I was talking about it quite a long time ago. But another thing that Russia does is nowadays I see, and especially nowadays, it's that they don't do the things openly. They say that, for example, we are not closing the border, but we are making it pretty damn hard for people to leave. But it's for your own protection, for protection of people. But we're not closing the border. We are not mobilizing people, but we are conscripting almost everyone of almost any age. And no matter whether you have 5 children or you work as a doctor or a lawyer, it's no matter. Still, we are conscripting you. We are not attacking, but we are, but we are not saying it. So all these things just pissing me off, but they work. The thing is, it's not a unique strategy to apply, and I can see it quite often by governments or other governments using the same thing. Like, look over here. They are bad people. We are not bad people. We're not even gonna talk about ourselves right now, because you should look and think about this person while we are doing something over here. It's like a magical trick or something, but you lose everything you have while it's happening. It's like a gypsy magic trick. But it's your government, so it's not as funny. Yeah. So how are you doing, guys, by the way? What are you hearing about all of this that's happening, and what are your expectations? How your everyday life, feeling of self has changed in the recent year or so? I'm interested to know. I have a feeling that all that is happening is affecting pretty much everyone, whether they look at it or hide from it. Starting from this whole war on the globe and World War III talks that would push almost anyone to the brink of hysteria at times. And of course, all oil and all this stuff affecting the gas, definitely affecting everyone. This whole story just made me really slow the pace. Planning feels almost impossible right now. Is it the same for you? pretty sure it is. On one hand, I was like a year or two ago, I was fantasizing about having something of my own, you know, a car, you know, taking from a bank to buy a flat, an apartment maybe, or even a house or something like this. Now I'm thinking that, jeez, if I would have gotten into that and the war broke out, I would have been in such a deep, you know, dirt right now. I'm not exactly even sure that I would be able to sell anything at a proper price. Things did skyrocket here though in Serbia. I mean, the prices for rent increased at least twice. In Kazakhstan as well, in Georgia and all these countries that have gotten people from Russia and from Ukraine. There are quite a bit of people that have left Ukrainian territories and went to Russia when the war started in Ukraine. At first, all the internal conflicts, then the whole situation with the Crimea, and then they moved to Russia. Now there's things happening in Russia and they have to move somewhere else again. This is just maddening, you know. So many people are breaking under all this pressure. And I understand them completely. I'm not exactly sure what to do currently with my financial situation with jobs and stuff. I might be going and trying to work illegally, I think. Maybe. I hope not, because I might get in serious trouble here. And it's not like I would like to go back to Russia, at least and not until things will change significantly. I'm talking about you and your friends, President Putin. I mean, dude, come on. You should at least sometimes do the things that you said you would do, or you wouldn't do, rather. One of the things that he said was that no one should stay in power for a long time, because it would change them so much that they will forget how it is to be a person and to make good ideas by good judgment and choices by good judgment, you know. Another thing he said that, of course, there's so many things. If I would even start talking about this, I would talk for like 5 hours straight of all the things that he promised and that he would do, and he did them the opposite way. And of course, everyone should. It's not like this is the one person that breaks everything. It's the system allowed him to appear there, and we should never be thinking that it's impossible to appear anywhere else. It's the exact moment when we start thinking that wow, in America it would never happen. No. This is how you fail. It's like you are riding a bicycle and you are not looking ahead of you. You are going to hit a wall or a pole or something. Even a small stone might send you flying in a bad way. And these new systems of one that we're using right now, of me using the internet to talk to you, which is like amazing if you think about it. At the same time, there are quite a bit of things that you will get silently banned from YouTube if you will talk about them, and you will get any significant traction, or you probably, even if you have some viewers already and fan base or something like this, your video will get suppressed. Not only to the new viewers that might see you for the first time, you won't appear in the search, for example. You might not appear completely, or you might get the worst possible positions in the search for like, a couple of pages, and you will be almost at the last. And your notifications will get delayed. And all of this is made by artificial intelligence, by the way. It's another thing that is being used by governments as well, even in Russia. Face identification, document two-face, what's it called? Identification, like, and finding like stuff about you, your IP addresses and all the stuff that you do can get united in the whole system of who you are, even though while you are reading something, for example, you register on a Facebook or something like this, it would say that your information is faceless, and we would never store anything like this. It's called big data and stuff, or data, that huge arrays of information. It's just giant, and our heads can't really comprehend this amount or work it through. But artificial intelligence allows us to use that info, to send it to the through it, and it will throw a result at you with a pretty baked in product. And it could be anything. I mean, if you train the system properly, you have to train this artificial intelligence exactly like a person. almost exactly, but the thing is that it doesn't have to take a lot of time. If you have a lot of computing power, it can take like, it can make years of training into seconds, for example. So YouTube uses one thing like this. It's an algorithm, and it understands what each user wants and what the general user wants, and it unites all of this, all the data that it has, even the things that you place a cursor or anything like this, and what moment you like a video or a stream at, and a comment and stuff, and it would use that to generate a way, or to an efficient way for making more views and making more money, basically. So it's all, for example, for around money. In this example, it's all about money. So if something is not making enough views, then or something is too controversial, and people get angry, and I'm not even talking about chances of lawsuits. Of course, that's a problem, especially for companies, big ones like this. But still, they would just, the artificial intelligence would block your channel from the search and stuff. It's coming. All of this is happening right in front of us right now, and it's affecting the way we do things and how we get information and stuff. And in hands of the government, it's a weapon. I mean, at least I understand that in hands of companies, you would definitely make the company needs to make money. It has an exact reason for everything that is happening in this product, in this artificial intelligence, and it's fairly understandable. But what does the government want it to do exactly? Some people in there want to make more money. Some people want to have more power. But I have no idea what's gonna happen next. And I'm 27. Talk about being left out, right? From all this technology stuff. Quite fearful of all of this. Not of what, how the AI will take over the world like it's Terminator or something like this, but of how badly people and governments would use it. Such as a story that of a person that has been taken and conscripted, a guy who has gone to a doctor and not gone, he called for a doctor at home. So that's a very popular option in Russia. It's I'm pretty sure it's ever since the USSR. Very useful, I have to tell you, when you're really feeling like the flu or something like this. You would call the doctor, and especially for a child or something similar, you would call the doctor. He would come within like 4 to 5 hours tops, free of charge. It's it's on the government. But it's probably the other thing that now is more useful with the whole free medical procedures, which quite limited and badly made. Russia has been trying to improve this whole system digitally in many ways, and they have been refurbishing and restoring the hospitals that are there. It was well before the war. Maybe it stopped about 1 year or 2 years before the war started, and has been happening for almost 8 to 10 years. And they have been making these digital we had these cards which had all the information about all your problems, medical problems, all the procedures you've got, and you would take it, and if you would go, you would need to go to a hospital of sorts. People, the hospital, one hospital would give it to you. It's like it starts quite slim. It's rectangular horizontally, and it expands with screens, all the screenings that you did, and it would just become huge over time. And you could imagine, especially in Moscow, the problem with all this paper just lying around, and it was always a problem of finding this card is it called, but it's like a joke almost that it's it's lost like a medical card, something like this. But about anything, right? So the next thing you would do, of course, is you would use this new technology to make all of this electrical. So all the information, I mean, would be stored in a unified space, a server or something like this, at least within the hospital. And at first it was like this, then it quickly expanded to a city-based server. Now it's a whole country-based server and service. Now there's a site, and you, instead of calling, previously you would call it just like, probably exactly like it was like what it was like in the USSR. And there would be a person answering your phone, then he would relay your message to the next hospital which is closest, and all the other stuff, and they would appoint a doctor and he would be sent to you. So they unified these cards, they unified this whole country into this system. So this guy is calling for a doctor, and the next thing that they have done, and they hadn't told anyone, is that united those systems with the other systems, of conscripts. So this guy is waiting for a doctor. He is opening the door, and two guys in white gowns, and they would give them this letter to get conscripted with a signature. Genius. Well, at least we can see all of this stuff happening. I mean, it's not really a secret, even though no one is really talking about it. People getting just jail sentences for writing something, or stating their opinion. And I hear quite similar stuff is happening. I'm not even talking about the cancel culture or anything like this. Just on the governmental level. In Canada, something like this was happening, and I'm pretty sure still is. People getting prosecuted. I've heard some information about it. Correct me if you've heard that to be wrong or something like this. But, it's an instrument, and it's hard not to use it for people in power. And they're saying that it's fighting against terrorism. There are people in Russia that are trying to fight back the conscription, and the torching the place, the offices, conscription offices, with no one inside. Just the floor itself. Because it's almost never a two-story building. It's rare. And people now are considered by the law as terrorists by doing this. I mean, yes, this is an attack, if you would think about it plainly, just without all the details of what's going on. But in reality, things are a bit more complicated, and people are thrown in jail for life. I mean, for life. And people that have killed someone have an opportunity to go to the war and have their things nullified completely, their transgressions. And now they are coming back into the society, apart from being killers at home, they've been some kind of soldiers at this proxy war, and now they are back with no reset of their state. There is no medical, psychological help appointed to them. Nothing like this. That's it, you are back. Let me guess, what are they going to do? I guess I'm not the only one who is not feeling like it's a good time to think ahead. I'm talking about our governments right now. Things are fairly calm in Serbia, though. I hear there's like nothing happening. Absolutely nothing happening. Just complete radio silence, as if someone is waiting for something to happen. Maybe some provocation of sorts. Yeah. Zero information. Which is a good thing. I mean, it's not like we need another war. Another proxy war. Anyway, I will be ending my stream pretty soon. So if you have anything to say or to ask, that's a good time. I have this thing happening to my throat every time I talk about Russia. It's like I'm being choked almost. Doesn't feel pleasant though. As many things in Russia, it saddens me deeply what's happening. And I hear that people that are still there are saying that it feels like that those who are having opposite points of view to the propaganda all have left. The ones who are left talking are the just fanatics being completely ridiculous. Even in the last what's it called, the New Year Eve and all these days, what's the correct term? I forgot what's it called. New Year and Christmas and all this stuff. Holidays, hello. Yeah, in these holidays, people still haven't really partied or anything like this. I mean, people were saying that it's completely, it's horrible. It's just the feelings of people inside. You could feel it in the air. They are doing these things. I mean, they are drinking and cheering, but not really. It's not really happening. They are demoralized deeply. The dread is in their eyes. There was one other thing that was a very good choice for the Russian government. They were on another site system that they have unified with all. To register on this site, you have to use your credentials, and all the systems and medical and stuff are united through this government site, and they make polls there. One of those was before the New Year Eve, which is possibly the biggest holiday in Russia. Like, really, it's the biggest. They asked whether people would like to use this money that the government has on setting up the holiday for citizens, whether they would like to use this money to send for the operation, special military operation. And about 70% of people apparently, but no one really knows, because if the exact numbers are I'm pretty sure that they were hidden. About 60 to 70% of people, like 68 or 66, something like this, that we should send this money to be used at the front, which is cool and all, you know. Of course, I could hardly imagine how it is back there. But every year, on the New Year Eve, the fireworks, I mean, you possibly have never ever seen bigger fireworks in your life on a governmental level. So in Russia, they would place like mortars and guns in the middle of next to the Red Square and stuff, and they would fire those guns. It costs like millions of dollars. I mean, those every year. Well, many millions of rubles it costs, but I'm pretty sure it's over $1 million. Every single year. And there was one this year as well. And there would be another on the 9th of May, which is the victory celebration of the victory in the World War II. It's another giant fire show or something like this. But still, they would send all this money just to explode in the sky. But they won't make anything else for the people in any other meaningful way. Just mind-boggling, you know, the choices they make. They are probably very well thought out to make all these people just feel miserable. The people that I hear going to fight in the war, the young ones that go and fight by themselves, I mean, it's not in a way that they are not trying to evade conscription in any way. They go there because possibly because, and not many of them would accept this idea, I'm pretty sure, but the government pushes the idea that you would be a hero if you would fight there, and now they're saying you would be a saint. And in Russia, what I mean, it's not exactly that the government says that, but you could, I imagine it to be so, because in Russia we have Russian Orthodox Church, which is the main church in Russia, and even though the constitution says that Russia is a multinational, multi-religional country, this is really the only church that is getting crazy deductions, like in the such a huge passes they get. And this patriarch Kirill is almost like a best friend of Putin. They both love one thing. They love control and they love power. So, and their things align. Their beliefs, pardon my pun, align. Even though you can't really see that Putin is religious, but sometimes he is just going to a church on the camera, you know. And many Russian oligarchs religious in that way, and they just after these decades of stealing money and killing people, just stuff, racketing, they would go to a church and they would give the money to the church, like huge amounts of money, and somehow they would feel as if things get better for them, a better ticket to the afterlife they get. That's the thing that it's selling, the Russian church. So this way he is in power, I mean the patriarch, and he is quite powerful, but the things that he's saying, I mean, you could search if you would like. Pretty ridiculous stuff. Very non non-imaginative, very bland, but quite offensive in some ways manipulations. And that's about it. He's not really saying, things that are that have any rhetorical power, any great ideas, or anything even close to that. And so in Russia we have also this religious channel, which is governmental, and it's about, well, many things regarding religion, some interviews and stuff of popes working there, but they're pushing the thing that people who go to the war are considered saints. If you want to be a saint, you should go to the war. Yeah. I don't know about that. The government is using all the cards it has now. Doesn't really care about its own appearance, I guess. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I enjoyed talking to you, and I guess see you next time. Yeah, I'm not feeling very intense and empowered right now. Feeling all this information and the things that I talked about in my recent video pushing me down quite a bit. But anyway, all in all, things are good. I have my body and my mind still. Not complaining, really. Anyway, thank you everybody. Bye bye.